Welcome back to the season finale of Interjections, the episode to wrap up the most disappointing end to a football campaign imaginable. Inter season is over after a 2-0 loss to Fluminense, crashing out of the Club World Cup. We're here to talk about how much, if at all, it matters. I'm your host, Andrew. Miko and Jay here with me. Miko, congrats on making it this far.
Thank you. Yeah. Crazy Inter, or how do they say it? Interesting comments said after the match, so happy to talk about the situation going on and evolving.
Yep, never a dull moment. Jay, are you ready to put Inter on a pip?
That's right. Clearly there's some severe performance management that needs to be happening here. Traditionally, we end episodes with a Jay's hot betting tip, but I'm going to balk tradition by starting the episode with one. Bet the fucking house on Milan right now. I'm telling everyone, bet all your liquidity on Milan right now. This is genuine financial advice right here. Napoli will break under the weight of two competitions. Conte will have his usual pathetic meltdown. Atalanta have essentially castrated themselves and have turned themselves into a joke of a side by hiring a relegated Juric from Southampton. Roma are in rebuild. Juventus are in rebuild. Inter have entered the time machine and transported themselves back to 2014. Lazio are a fucking basket case. The only serious side is Milan. They've hired a sporting director with proven experience who has promptly recruited one of the greatest midfielders of all time in Luka Modric, one of the top prospects in the league in Samuele Ricci for a astounding price of only 23 million. That's only 7 million more than what we paid for Josef Martinez, by the way. And of course, Allegri, who is the most experienced winner in this league. So, and of course, Milan have one game per week to play next season. So all the money, the smart money is on Milan. All the signs point to Milan Seconda Stelle. Thank you.
Well, we're finishing the season the way we started off the season with a J Milan Scudetto prediction. Some things never change. Maybe the third time's the charm. While that's a reasonable Jay's hot betting tip, let me tell you, all the smart money, all the people who spend their time on Instagram and Twitter and they know football, they know the play right now is Al Hilal to win the Club World Cup after knocking Manchester City out last night. So Forza Inzaghi. So on a personal level, I'm super bummed that we lost yesterday. Sterling and I had plans to go to the quarterfinal together in Orlando. I already had my flight booked. I thought we were going to head down on Independence Day, have a nice day off, watch us play against Manchester City. And somehow it has devolved into Fluminense winning, Al Hilal and Inzaghi winning, and that is your quarterfinal. So instead, I'm here talking about how Inter got knocked out of their fifth competition of the calendar year 2025 and listening to Milan Scudetto predictions. So great pivot. I want to... So this is a difficult tournament to evaluate because you just don't know how much to care about it. You see a lot of Europeans who are online saying this tournament doesn't matter because it's not on when they're awake. You don't know what conclusions we can make from what we're seeing on the pitch. You just don't know how to discern how relevant of a data point this is, especially when we have a brand new manager who's been with the club for 2 weeks. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to break things down. I'm going to break down this entire tournament for you with 3 categories. Things I know, things I think, and things we still don't know after watching 4 games where Inter struggled mightily in 3.5 of them. So starting with the things I know, the first thing I know is that this core of Inter players did not want to be at this tournament. Many of them literally did not bother showing up to it. Fertesi, Pavar, Zielinski, and a handful of others didn't even bother to make an appearance. Then you had guys like Thuram and DeMarco who spent all their minutes looking disinterested. The only time we had life in this tournament was when we had the young core of players on the pitch. I'm talking Pio, Sucic, Carboni. All three of those guys looked really good. They were bright spots who had ideas. They were taking guys on. They were trying to impose themselves. But Lautaro is the only regular contributor who can walk away with his head held high based on the way he performed on the pitch, even with his misses yesterday. That leads me to number 2, things I know. So I know Lautaro is the right man to captain this team. It's not because he was the best player in this tournament, which he was, and it wasn't close, but it's because he cared. It's because he was the only one willing to try and lead us to victory. He was the only one worthy of the shirt. And yeah, he had a disappointing season. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this podcast, but he has a proper summer now. He needs to come back strong next year. He needs to play well. And if you haven't seen his post-game comments, you need to read them because he sounded like a proper leader who was demanding the best of his teammates while calling out to one specific teammate, which Miko talked about in the opening, which leads me to the final thing I know from this tournament, which is Hakan Çalhanoğlu is done at Inter. It's over. Much like how after the Champions League final, I knew Inzaghi was done at Inter. It's clear Hakan is done at Inter. Marotta took over, in 2019 of this club, and I have never seen him make such pointed comments about a player as he did about Hakan post-game. You've had all these rumors in that notoriously unreliable Turkish media that I completely shrugged off because the Italian media wasn't touching the story. I don't think we've even really talked about it on this pod that much because, once again, no one takes the Turkish media seriously. But now he's called out by Lautaro and Marotta in the media as a player who doesn't want to be at Inter, and it's time for him to go. We've thrown away all of our negotiating leverage, so this is going to be another Brozovic situation where you sell an excellent player for 1/3 of what he's worth to the team, but he's checked out, he's injury prone, he's on high wages, and it's no longer worth the trouble. So those are all things, 100% confidence degree telling you guys them. There are a few things I think with a lesser degree of confidence. Number one is I think this Kivu hiring is showing some serious red flags. We're not going to sit here and break down the game yesterday tactically, like minute for minute, because once again, I don't know how much you all care, but I will tell you, for those of you who didn't watch the game and who didn't watch this tournament, that this team could not figure out how to attack low blocks the entire tournament, and they couldn't get shots on goal against these really poor opponents. We spent almost 180 minutes against Fluminense and whatever that Japanese club is, flinging just aimless crosses into the box, like or some Serie B relegation side. And this is not how elite clubs break down low blocks. Like, if you look at the math behind this, and I won't bore you with like tactical math, but crosses are one of the least efficient and effective attacking moves in football. They're supposed to be desperation mode. That's why they call it Route 1, with like teams with a lack of technical ability. So Kivu did not do anything in this tournament to inspire me. I'm not writing him off, but I'm concerned. The one thing he did do well was he played our youth, partly out of necessity. And that leads me to number 2, which is I think Pio and Carboni are good enough for Inter. They were both good enough to be kept around in the first team this season. A quick minute on Pio. The intelligence in him is just so clear to me. Like the way he reads the defense. It's like you can see when someone else has the ball, you can see his positioning where he adjusts himself to get himself open. And it's so different than like a Lukaku who would hide behind the defender and then throw his arms in the air, wondering why he didn't get the ball. I was really impressed with both those guys this tournament. I think they're both going to stay. And then finally, the thing I think is that this is curtains on Asllani at Inter. This was a disastrous tournament for Asllani. 4 matches to prove himself. It was pathetic. More bookings, 2 bookings. In fact, he would have been suspended for the quarterfinal. He was lackadaisical and slow on the ball. With Hakan already heading out the door, it just makes sense to do a complete reset on the position. And then finally, I'll just do 2 things we don't know. I don't know if paying $25 million for Luis Enrique was a good idea. He played in 3 matches in this competition, and like I said, if you guys didn't watch the game yesterday, he did not play well at all. Gazetta actually ranked him the worst player on the pitch in our opening match of the group stage. I thought that was harsh, but yesterday was just as bad, if not worse. He doesn't use his speed. He doesn't actually manage to beat anyone off the dribble. It's just a lot of standing over the ball and flinging in crosses. So I'm not writing him off. I don't want people freaking out and calling him the next Albert, even though they already are. But I'm telling you, I don't know if this was a good idea. And not to go full J on you, but to wrap up, I honestly don't know if we're going to be any good next season. It's not hard to imagine the bottom falling out of this thing between the age of the squad, the fatigue in the squad, and now you have our core players asking to leave. So you got it. Marotta and Acilio, man. Time to earn your money. Miko, the floor is yours. I obviously said a lot there, so attack it however you want. If you want to talk about the con stuff, if you want to talk about the disgusting match yesterday, whatever you want.
Yeah, maybe the match. I watched it and didn't like it. It was maybe a bit unfortunate we conceded so early in the match because it kind of set the tone of the match. Fluminense could just sit back and wait, and we couldn't do shit, as you said. The goal, that was a bit stupid to concede that kind of goal, so I'm putting some blame on Sommer, being the guy always on the line and not coming out of the line and kind of knock the ball out. But it is what it is, and then happened what happened. We couldn't do anything to that low block, and was it at the halftime when Kivu made the substitutions, or was it?
No, it was like
later?
5 minutes into the second half.
Okay, yeah. It looked a bit better than after the subs, but still, like we were able to produce some kind of chances. Lautaro couldn't convert them. I think the last one was the best when he hit the inside of the post. So it was like inch there, here and there. But I guess it was totally deserved. We went out since we were so out of breath and lack of energy, lack of ideas. So just kind of good to end the season right here. Well, not good in a sense that I don't want to see Inter lose, and we would have made nice money if we get to the quarterfinals, but in a sense to get everything out, like Lautaro got everything out in the post match interview. He wasn't, by the way, he didn't name any specific players there when he kind of call out some lack of, I don't know what he was referring to exactly, but yeah, I agree that I loved his comments in a sense that he said them. I don't love that why he said them so called. I wouldn't want to see this kind of things going on in the locker room or in the inside the team, but that's what has apparently happened. So nice to kind of know about these things. I don't know if it's better or worse that they could have like handled this like inside the locker room, inside the club, but I guess it would have leaked anyway. Yeah, and about the comments, as said, Toro didn't name any names. He just made a general comment, and then it was Marotta who came forward and like directly named calhanoglu, which was very kind of uncharacteristic by him. And I don't know if that was kind of a tactic to put pressure on calhanoglu to, well, since it seems that in the rumors in the media, calhanoglu has been like very kind of quiet and let the rumors fly there compared to last season, last summer, when I believe he kind of killed the rumors when he commented he's not going anywhere, when there were the rumors of Bayern interest and so on. But now it's been pretty quiet. He went to Turkey to his friend's wedding or something, and there's like crazy rumors going on all the time. So I don't know. Maybe that was the Marotta wanted to kind of put some pressure on the player. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on and say what you really want to do and so on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like mildly disappointed crashing out, but then again, it's good that the team gets the rest now. Hopefully they can have like a, I don't know, 3 weeks vacation maybe. Then the preseason starts, and then it's like less than two months for the season to start again. So hopefully it's a bit better summer than last summer, when at least some players weren't like top notch when the season started, like Lautaro. So yeah, gotta look to always the positives, but this greasy Inter is definitely something not I was kind of expecting. I think, I've been kind of looking Marotta always that okay, he can kind of keep things in order, but now it seems it's not in like completely in order at this moment, since he needs to make these kind of comments publicly.
Yeah, like the Marotta discussion is interesting to me because like we all trust this guy because he's done a good job building the team, but I am starting to wonder if like this is the right moment for him. Like Oak Tree has really limited what he's comfortable doing. We all know the story about him and his free transfers. He's always valued like safe, experienced options. And now we're pivoting to this world where we're just required to take chances and we're potentially having to consider selling players. And Marotta has not done a fantastic job selling players at Inter. And we haven't exactly had a great hit rate on some of these like 20 million, 30 million euro transfers. We've struck out on a lot of them. And you just wonder, like, is this really like going to be his strength, going in and having to make wholesale changes to a team? I'm talking 5, 6, 7 players that might need replacing this summer. You're asking a lot of him.
Yeah, that's true. Like, has he, like, what has been the plan? Like, they should be planning this summer, and I don't know what's the plan. Of course, we don't know, but we are like, we've been doing some signings, which is good, but then there are like a lot of things to be done still, and I don't know, are they ready or not for the changes? Like, can they pull them off? They are like, if calhanoglu is moving, will that be kind of some kind of a drama for the whole July and half of August, or what it's gonna be?
We can replace him with Richie.
No, fuck Richie. He can be at most Aslani replacement, not a calhanoglu replacement.
If not Richie, how about Granit Xhaka?
Where's Irfan when you
never
need
mind.
him?
They've both been snapped up by Milan for market prices.
That's true.
Look,
Richie is a good one, but yeah, go on.
I mean, I agree with Andrew regarding the state of the squad. I don't see how any rational person can look objectively at what we're seeing, all the various considerations, and not be extremely concerned. even the most hopeful and optimistic of fans out there willing to support Kivu as, like one of our own, one of our treble heroes, young and upcoming, and put their hopes on that side of things, has to concede the guy has 3 wins in his entire career. He's managed 13 games in his fucking life, guys. And he's up against guys like Conte and Allegri, who have something like 10 Serie A titles between the two of them. This is a farce. The situation is an absolute joke. As Andrew mentioned, the fatigue of the players is just fucked. I mean, last season just passed. We went into the season compromised because the players didn't have much of a break. Are we seeing that being fixed this season? No, it's just another continuation of that. The same guys who are fatigued from last season are going to be just as fatigued this upcoming season because they've still not taken a break. You've got not only fitness issues, but on top of that, it seems now there's a lot of there's some turmoil that we hadn't seen when things were a bit more stable under Inzaghi's leadership, and I don't think that's coincidental at all. I think the way in which we lost the Champions League seemed to destabilize so many pillars within this team, not just in terms of squad dynamics, but also their mental state. I swear, like, DeMarco hasn't looked like a footballer in about 4 months. Calhanoglu had an off-season. Barella, in my opinion, had an off-season. Lautaro, off-season. Miko was saying, is this Crisi Inter? And yeah, absolutely, it's fucking Crisi Inter. This could go very, very bad very, very quickly.
Yeah, it could, but it's, yeah, I agree. It can go quite bad. But now I was thinking, like I said, maybe Marotta tried to kind of pivot the discussion to specifically Calhanoglu, since he's been in the rumors, and if he can kind of release the pressure from everything else to just to Calhanoglu. But I don't know. I read some Turkish reporter tweeting that there would be some kind of a public announcement by Calhanoglu later today, but I don't know. Will that happen? Calhanoglu's wife already posted something in Instagram, some shit.
Yes. The
I don't
woman
know.
who cheated on Hakan is talking about loyalty.
What? She cheated.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't need to become a gossip mill. The thing is, having Kivu here like eliminates all sort of a floor for this team. Like with Inzaghi, you knew what you were going to get. You were pretty much guaranteed Champions League football, and yeah, he bottled 2 Scudetti, but still, like you knew what the downside was. Whereas with Kivu, like the floor is yours. Like this could easily be a season where we miss Europe altogether. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of unknown. But I will say, like, for all the, as much as I was looking forward to going to a Club World Cup game, and as much as I would like to win the competition, like, it's good that this team's getting a solid like month off now. Hopefully everyone goes on vacation or resets here. These players need serious rest, and I don't know if 4 weeks will be enough rest, but they still need it. The Serie A campaign is going to start the last week of August, they've come out and said, which is a week later than usual. Hopefully that's enough to get everyone back in shape, and for Marotta and Osilio to sort out this squad, because like Jay said, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. The 2 areas, it sounds like Bonnie's coming and he's going to be the attacker. Like I said, Pio Esposito is going to stay and be your number 4 striker. So when you start looking at like what needs to be resolved in the squad, I think there are 2 huge question marks. One is the midfield. You have a glut of players in the midfield with Sucic now here. You have Hakan, Fertezi, Aslani, who are all on the outs, who all need to be considered as sales. I was talking to Sterling, and he made the point that pretty much every midfielder who did not feature in this tournament is for sale at this point. And there needs to be some sort of consolidation of these players where we sell 2 or 3 of them, bring in 1 or 2 new bodies. I haven't even mentioned Mkhitaryan and his 37-year-old self, who also clearly needs to be replaced. The other obvious hole is in defense, where Acerbi and De Vrij both look absolutely awful. Darmian did not have a good Club World Cup either. Between those 3 guys, like you need to replace at least one of them, preferably 2 of them. There's these links to Leone from Parma. He's what we have. He is a slow defender. He's also very young and inexperienced. Is he stepping in and playing meaningful minutes at Inter? Like, I saw a report that we might loan him back to Parma. It's just, we haven't been linked to many defenders at all. So I'm guessing we've already spent, for all the like misgivings people have about Oak Tree, we already have spent like 45 million, if not more, maybe 50, 60 million on Boni, Sucic, and Luis Enrique. Say what you want about those signings. Like, those are the guys Marotta and Osilio picked. Like, they were given their parameters. They needed to pick young players, but still, they spent that money. It's not unreasonable that we need to make a sale to get rid of some of these excess bodies because we have too many players in a couple positions before we continue. So it's time for, as far as I'm concerned, it's time for Marotta and Osilio to earn their keep and do the job. Force out someone like Taremi, force out someone like Zelensky, correct the mistakes of last summer, and properly fix this team.
Yeah, I think it's fair to kind of expect that we need to sell some players now, but then it becomes the issue that how much money we can generate, how kind of what players we can sell, what kind of offers we are getting. Like, we need, if we want to sell Bissek, for instance, we need like a nice offer so that we can then replace him, and same goes for Fratesi. We don't know what's his case. Does he want to leave or not? I don't know. This Club World Cup could have been like a nice showcase for a few of these guys, for like a Kivu to see what they can do. But like, I don't know, half of the team was injured, or I don't know what Lautaro was referring. Was there like some fake injury thing going on, and these guys like didn't care enough? They just wanted to travel to USA and have a little trip there, and then they headed back, like quite a few of them. So
as we speak, Hakan has put out a multilingual rebuttal on Instagram, basically clapping back at Lautaro, saying that what surprised me more were the words that came after. Words that divide and not unite. So the guy is obviously, basically just telling Lautaro to fuck off and accusing Lautaro of falsely accusing him of being injured or not wanting to be at the club or whatever it is. And this is precisely what we need, right? Our starting DM publicly feuding with our captain on Instagram. Only at Inter can you go from the precipice of a treble to fresh banter hell with public wars between players in the span of like 2 months or something. Fucking incredible.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm skimming the statement right now, and I mean, you now have, I don't know if it's fair to call Hakan one of your star players, but one of your core players, a guy who's always like one of the first on the team sheet, openly feuding with your captain via Instagram. It's just, like I said at the top, how do you resolve this? The only way you solve this is by selling Hakan. And if you sell him, it's going to be at discounts. Like, how do these guys possibly like make up and continue together?
Yeah, I think Marotta didn't do a good job there when he named calhanoglu, because Lautaro didn't name anyone. Like I said, he just he said like tutto generale, like in general. And you could have like, if Calhanoglu wasn't named, he wouldn't have made this post. That's pretty clear. But now that Marotta specifically said Calhanoglu, like Lautaro was speaking about Calhanoglu or something around that, it kind of changed the whole thing now. And I don't know, maybe Marotta wants to get. I don't know. This is like a very stupid thing now. It like blew to his face somewhat. I feel that's the.
Isn't this kind of what Marotta does, though? Like, we don't need to rehash every trend. Like, he has sunk value of guys he's trying to sell before. I'm thinking specifically of Icardi. Like, I don't know. I've never. Marotta, I sound like I'm being very anti-Marotta this podcast. He has done a lot of great things for this club. Selling players for high transfer fees has never been one of them. He has like 2 success stories with Lukaku the first time and Onana. The rest of his sales are pretty meh.
Yeah, it's pretty puzzling now. What was the motive of doing that? Because now he put like Calhanoglu and Lautaro like in a fight. When that was maybe not even Lautaro's kind of intention to actually go after specific players. But now publicly it's precisely that. And now we're definitely going to kind of take a hit in the transfer fee when we try to sell Calhanoglu somewhere. But yeah, let's see what's going to happen. Maybe they can make up and Calhanoglu will continue then Inter, like anything can happen. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at the moment.
Jeez, never a dull moment. All right, well, let's, with Hakan in mind, we've talked about Ravella, we've talked about different replacements. Like, where would you go from here, Jay? Like, if you were Marotta, what would you do to clean up the squad between sales, purchases, settling this new dispute you've started? Like, what's the path forward?
I'm not sure there is one. I think too much damage has already been done. Inzaghi's departure and the manner of his departure, not just the way he left Al Hilal, but also obviously the fact that it followed a team-breaking demolition in the Champions League final, was like a gut punch we haven't recovered from, in my opinion. But then you go and hastily appoint some guy who, has 3 wins in his entire career, like a rank novice, as his replacement. I think that is somewhat dug our own grave. And then we've gone and spent a lot of our money on a player like Luis Enrique, who is utterly a luxury signing. And I won't say that's the final nail in our coffin, but you can see from these 3 things the amount of damage that's already been done to our current state of being. So I don't know if there is a road to recovery, to be honest. It'd take some fucking miraculous signings and performances to get this club to play at a certain respectable level that I don't think many people are expecting, and that realistically we have no evidence that we can expect. We have no logical reason. We only have hope and and positive vibes. Realistically, like, again, Kivu has 13 games, 15 games in his life. How can you possibly expect him to get top 4 or mount a Scudetto challenge or whatever it might be because of our squad? Again, we'll look at the current state of our squad, right? It looks like our core players are all disintegrating before our eyes. Augusto has been shit ever since Bayern Munich, by the way. Absolute dog shit. I don't know if Yamal took his soul or something, but I was so full of praise for him, following really gutsy performances around the time of that Bayern Munich tie, but since then he's been fucking trash. DeMarco's been trash for since pretty much December. And the only kind of pillar player of ours that's been any good is in my opinion, maybe. Oh, actually, it's Dumfries. I won't even give it to Bastoni because I don't even think he's been very good. Other than that, they've all been shit. So you've got a squad which is falling apart, and as mentioned, the choices made to kind of rectify this crazy period, I think, has probably caused further damage. I'm not saying that Fabregas was the answer, but I like to think there are more than two human beings out there in Christian Kivu and Cesc Fabregas, and three fucking Patrick Vieira who could have managed this team. As mentioned in some of our previous episodes, guys, we were defending Italian champions, twice Champions League finalists, I think 2 times Coppa Italia winners. We should be picking from the absolute top of the pile based on our current state of competing for major honors year in, year out. And yet we did the exact opposite and just picked the cheapest, most inexperienced shitheads possibly available on the market. So to answer your question, if I was Marotta, what would I do to get us out of this situation, or what kind of signings would I make, or whatever? I think you're already fucked. I think you've already fucked it beyond repair. I don't see how you can come back from this and be I'll just sign this prick and this will then, fix the season. It doesn't change the fact that Kiwi is a fucking rank novice. It doesn't change the fact that the squad is aging, playing like shit, extremely exhausted, and now at each other's throats as well. So yeah, I think it might be one of the challenges of Marotta's career to sort out this current mess. And I was thinking about it during the day while I was at work. I was like, is this Marotta's fault? And it felt a little bit unfair to blame him. I mean, ultimately, he is the president, and arguably the most involved president we've had in a long time, because obviously he was not just president but CEO before then. So one of the most involved presidents we have, and this disintegration of a potential treble winning Inter back in as recently as May, a squad competing for the treble has since turned into fucking the biggest basket case, one of the biggest jokes in world football right now. And that's happened under his presidency. At the same time, I feel like shit has just unraveled so fast that it's unrealistic for us to expect anyone, even someone as experienced and skilled as Marotta, to be able to manage such a crisis. Can you blame the president of the country if a fucking meteor lands on the country? You know what I mean? Not really. That's what it kind of feels like as well. So I don't know, but I can say with certainty that I don't really believe in the moves he's made so far, and I'm extremely cautious about the next steps that he needs to take.
Miko, do you have any optimism to counter with?
Let's try something. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't call we, or let me put it this way. I think we have a good chance to make a top 4. The squad is still good enough. It's not like complete shit. We feel it now because it's end of the season. We didn't win anything. We played like shit for the latest weeks. We were in USA, not having a particularly good time there and playing. So it obviously feels bad. But I think when the squad has rested, they're gonna have the preseason, get back in top condition. I believe it will be better. But I agree that there needs to be changes in the squad. I would have liked calhanoglu to be there with Barella, so that not too much will be changing. because they've been kind of the core in our midfield, kind of the backbone there. And if Calhanoglu is taken out, like he didn't play at all in the Club World Cup, Barella was kind of the one who was running the show. Aslani, he's like completely finished at Inter. He should be definitely out. We should try to upgrade him, but then we come to the issue that okay, Calhanoglu leaves as well. We need to replace him. Like, can we do that? We can't do that with the money. Probably with the money he's going to bring in. Although he has a big wage, so that kind of balances it a bit. But there will be like a lot of changes in the midfield probably, which is to me, midfield is so important and has always been in football that it needs to be good. And we've had a good midfield for quite a while, and now it's a big task for Marotta to kind of fix the midfield. And I think Sucic, he's looked good. That's positive, at least. I think that there's a proper player there. We can use him, maybe even in multiple roles. So he's a good addition. But yeah, we need changes. We need younger central defender. We need I don't know, do we need another attacker after Bunny? Because I think the consensus now at least in the media, is that Pio Esposito will stay, which is good because I think the Rasmus Höjlund rumors, I was very fond of those rumors. I loved those rumors, but now looking how Pio played in the Club World Cup, I kind of feel if he would be getting Höjlund, he could kind of take too much space from Pio, since Pio seems like a player we can use already. Like he can be part of the team. He don't need to be like a fifth forward who plays here and there, but like properly being part of the squad, even though he's young. So I don't know about the attack, what we're gonna do with that, but gotta hope that Bunny is going to be a good one, since we definitely need that. Thuram has been, I don't know, he hasn't been good for months now, and I don't know how many goals he has scored in calendar year 2025. Not many. So we need like a proper guy there to rest Thuram and put a bit competition to him.
We should sign Granit Xhaka for 8 million. Oh wait, too late.
He's not moving for 8 million. Leverkusen is not going to sell him for 8 million. And what is he? He's like 30, 31, 32. So let's forget about that. We need. I don't know. You guys discussed at some point that we should get Rovella. Richie is gone. Rovella is maybe more defensive midfielder than Richie. But I don't know. I think it's hard to get him from Lotito.
Yeah. Last time I was on, which was a few weeks ago, I suggested that we sell Hakan for 30 million and go and get Rovella using that money plus a little bit extra. But now that we've destroyed all negotiating leverage for Hakan, I doubt we'll be getting 30 million for him, and I don't know how realistic Rovella is. But Padula reported in the media that we offered Lazio something like 35 million and an Aslani loan for Rovella, just to give you an idea how much this guy is going to cost. It'd be an expensive signing, but he's stronger defensively than any other midfielder in our squad. He is a little yellow card happy, but still, like, I'd take the physicality. I was talking to Sterling offline about like what the path forward is, and you have, like, when you bring in such an inexperienced rookie coach, like, sure, you can hope that his legacy at the club galvanizes the veterans and, like, they give him the benefit of the doubt. But there's also a chance that these older players like Hakan just completely tune Kivu out, and they're like, I was recently in a Champions League final as a player. You've managed 13 games. Why do I have to listen to you? And I would compare it to 2011 when we signed Benitez, and he just never won over the leadership from the treble team, and as a result, he crashed out. Like, there's a risk that happens, and it sounds like Lautaro is doing a great is doing Lautaro is stepping into a leadership role. If some of these other guys aren't buying in, like, he's trying to step up. But I'll just say that maybe the path forward is you get a younger squad. You rejuvenate these older players with players who are, that 23 to 25 window, and as a result, they're more willing to buy into Kivu. It's these you sign players who haven't won championships. You sign players who haven't been to Champions League finals, and they're more willing to listen to a former Primavera coach. So that's one path you can go down. But once again, this is all contingent on sales, selling Mkhitaryan or, like, releasing him, selling Aslani. Like, we need to do some work here, and we're going to have to raise some money if we actually want to invest in the squad.
Ravella is unobtainable, like the famous, like the famous element mined on Pandora in James Cameron's epic Avatar on Obtainium, because Lazio cannot register any players, so they're keeping all their players. So any transfers with them are just completely off the table. But Ravella's going to be a no from me, dog, because the guy has 1 goal in 150 professional games of football. Motherfucker, that's like harder to do than it is to score goals. Like, you have to deliberately be avoiding being near the opponent's goal to only manage 1 goal in 150 games. Like,
so are we talking about Bonnie?
I'm talking about Ravella.
No, I'm just kidding, because Bonnie doesn't score goals. Continue.
This generation of Italians, just it doesn't inspire me. We've got the best of them, the Barellas, the Bastonis, and DeMarcos, and they're still shit. So, like, the
not shit.
The B tier of them.
Come on.
The B tier of them. The Zaccagnis and the Ravellas and the fucking, I don't know, the Parisis or whatever. Like, nah. Like, these guys can't make a World Cup in 15 years. Like, all you got to do is beat fucking Moldova and all you got to do is beat Moldova and Switzerland every now and again, and North Macedonia, and you get to the World Cup. But you can't do that in fucking in 25 games over 12 years. Just I'm done with Italians.
I kind of agree with the point that we shouldn't, like, overspend on these Italians, because there's kind of this tax, Serie A tax.
It's the same. We make fun of the fucking English for doing it.
Yeah, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing.
Italians are guilty of it themselves. Like there's so many capable players if you have, like, a competent scouting network and you have the right people making the right decisions. And we see this all the time, right? Players being sourced from, or unknown players being sourced from fucking, second division Somalian league or something, and all of a sudden they're the next N'Golo Kante. But we seem to just go off this guy's been a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 in Serie A for 3 years. Let's get him. That's like the only pool of players we choose from, by and large. So
we sign safe players. Like, we go for the high floor, low ceiling player, and it worked for a very long time. But is that going to?
I think that's, we see, based on, like, the whole Al Hilal beating Man City thing. I don't think you can overstate how much of that was just due to Inzaghi. his system really does bring out the most from these unfancied and overlooked players, and we don't have that magic anymore. We spoke about this in previous weeks, but even someone like Irfan, who was extremely, extremely critical of Inzaghi's foreign policy. Let's not go there again. But criticizing his cowardice and so on. Like, I don't deny that that's part of Inzaghi and who he is, but the other side of Inzaghi is tactical genius too much? Is that going too far? Because beating Man City with Al Hilal it can be considered a fluke because it's too early in his tenure and it's a preseason tournament, all this kind of shit. But what he achieved with this Inter for years on the kind of like negative budget that he had for years is miraculous. And like I said, yeah, sure, he showed all his bad sides as well. His fear, his conservatism, his stubbornness, but like I said, the flip side was extremely entertaining, attractive, enjoyable football, which was ultimately successful. And I don't want to revisit the post Inzaghi conversations we had again, but for me, Inzaghi will regrettably go down as one of the biggest like what if managers that I've seen in my life, because we never got to see Inzaghi with a team and with the financial support, not even like Man City level financial support, but like non-fire sale financial support. Just like, okay, we're keeping our players and we can add, 2 players worth 30 million each. We never even got to see that very, very, humble backing for him, considering the stature of the club that we are. Like, look at the signings that dickheads like fucking Ten Hag have gotten. Ruben Amorim, even Ange Postecoglou and stuff were able to spend 80 million on Dominic Solanke from Bournemouth, and all the other top managers and all the other top teams get signings, but Inzaghi's there, getting us to Champions League finals with 35-year-old Mkhitaryan, 37-year-old Acerbi, both sourced for free. And like I said, I'll stop myself before I go any further, but we don't have that anymore. So unless Kiva is by some miracle an even bigger miracle worker than Inzaghi, I think we're pretty fucked.
Yeah, but the point where like I everything on the internet devolves into pro and anti. So I have ended up in the pro Inzaghi camp through all this. But even I have to admit, like, sure, this guy has serious beef, and it's warranted about the lack of financial support he received. But what are we on pace to spend this summer? We're probably going to end this summer having spent like 80 million euros by the time we're done making all our signings, 100 million euros maybe. It's like if he would have stuck around, he would have gotten 5 new players this summer. Like, is that not enough? Like I agree. Like, we're never going to be City, we're never going to be Chelsea with these insane transfer budgets. But like we are spending money this year. We're trying to fix this squad, and he still chose to bail, and that's ultimately on him. Like, of all years to complain about mercatos, like, I don't think you can do it this year when we've already spent 60 million and it's July 1st.
Yeah, but it's the fucking built up trauma and resentment of the last 4 years, which is like, look, even if it's like you have a shit time at work for 4 years and they're like, finally we'll offer you a pay rise, and it's like, no, fuck off, I've already decided to leave. The fire's already been extinguished.
I think it's not just about the mercato or the kind of financial support. I think it was also about all the pressure what comes when you are Inter coach and you're expected to win everything all the time, and with kind of a limited budgets. And even if he would have like got this mercato we are having now, I think he just made the decision that, okay, enough. Let's take a break, and I'll take the money and have a good time there, and that's my kind of analysis why he left. But yeah, let's leave that Inzaghi things aside, and we started from Rovella and the Italian players.
Yeah, we're all over the place today.
Yeah, it's okay. I was about to mention that one player I would like really want to see at Inter is Morten Frendrup from Genoa. I think that he would be a nice addition, like a proper defensive midfielder, and we have been linked to him now recently, and linked to him like very recently, and there's been some talk that we would loan Carboni to Genoa, and I don't know what the deal would be, but I would really like to have him. Probably wouldn't cost 50 million, right? Like Rovella. So yeah, I would want to see some kind of action in the midfielder department, like fairly soon, regardless of what happens with calhanoglu. I would want to see Aslan Khan, and then we would be able to kind of shuffle the deck a bit. But yeah, it's kind of the like today. The mercato is open again officially, so it's kind of back in fashion after a brief break there. So it's interesting. I'm kind of hopeful. I'm always hopeful, like what's going to happen in the future. Unlike you guys, so I'm looking forward what is coming up with all the signings, and well, I guess the sales as well. But I assume we aren't going to sell players apart from maybe calhanoglu, we kind of regret selling. And after what happened, maybe selling calhanoglu is not regrettable either, but would have liked to keep him. But now it looks like that's not an option anymore.
Are you willing to loan Carboni though?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I would be willing to loan him. It might be that there's not a proper spot for him. It might be better for him to play like constantly as a regular player every game. Maybe even a starter somewhere else, and then kind of build on top of that, like what kind of player he is. I saw his comments about like he could play as Mezzala for Inter if there's no other proper role for like there is no proper role for this kind of number 10 player. But like looking yesterday how he played, man, he isn't Mezzala, like nowhere close. And I'm not sure is it kind of beneficial for him to start learning about that right now? Should he just polish his game more, like his offensive game more?
Because you're going to be changing tactics again next season.
Did it ever occur to anyone that Lautaro's harsh words as the captain would have so much gravitas if he himself were not a retard?
Oh boy.
Okay. Fuck off.
Well, I think on that note, we can probably wrap this thing up. We did Jay's hot betting tips at the start of the podcast. Miko, I will ask you, who is going to win the Club World Cup quarterfinal between Al Hilal and Flumin Fluminense that we were supposed to be playing Manchester City in.
Well, didn't see the match, but I would guess Inzaghi will prevail here. He has maybe his players are more eager, not that tired. So I guess they will beat the Brazilians.
Yeah. So another semi-final for Inzaghi.
Against whom? Is it against PSG?
I believe it would be Chelsea if
Right.
shock
Yeah,
occurs.
PSG is on the other side. So maybe the final.
We can dream. All right. Well, we're planning on taking next week off. If anything crazy happens, if Hakan is sold, if we inexplicably buy a player, we will do a podcast. But if nothing happens, if it's quiet, we're going to take next week off, and then we'll be back with somehow season 3 of Interjections. Don't really know where the time's going. So thanks everyone for listening. Miko, you're still obligated to take us away.
Forza Inter, Forza Toro.
I thought you were going to say Forza Fluminense.
Also that.